vectors. We have our Victors and our Shirleys for the three of you that get that. I'm not just a babbling idiot. Anyways, let's see if we can finish the mini-map in one go and then get back to that heavy blueprinting for the shooty thingies. So, open your projects and remember, create your way. I went ahead and re-added the input key T for chat just to make sure that the GUI was still working, so we can still send chat messages. So I figure we might as well take our under our UI folder, our widget main HUD, which is created in our BP HUD, and add our minimap in. So I was thinking I was just gonna drag and drop it in basically. Once I find it here, widget minimap, I believe. So we'll anchor it to the bottom right corner, and yeah, we don't want 512 by 512, but something like 256 by 256, 0 and 0, or rather, if we give the pivot, was it 1 and 1? 0 and 0, somewhere in here. I'll set it up. Yeah, 1 and 1 under alignment. I'll put it right in the corner under the perfect 256 size, so we can compile that and save that. I've also taken the minimap manager and just thrown it into the scene, as well as our capture 2D camera. So those are both in the map and saved. And now when we play, we have our texture there. It's obviously not capturing anything yet, but let's see if we can't get that finished. And our vehicle should still work. Or no, I got rid of those controls, I believe. Yeah. I have to re-add those. Anyways, so yeah, let's see if we can't get that finished. So we'll go under Minimap in our blueprints folder, and we might as well let's work on the Minimap manager. Where did we finish that? I can't remember. Oh right, I remember. We were gonna set it up to do the full screen thing, but we'll do that at a later date. That's not totally essential, in my opinion, right this second. And this actually should go to player controller. Should enable input for this actor. A little fix right there, I just noticed. So let's work on the widget then. Widget minimap. That's where we need some functions, some functionality. So let's get some custom events out of the way in our event graph, because we didn't do anything in the event graph yet. So we're gonna want event construct. Whoa, that's way small. I was way zoomed out. We're gonna want an event tick, and we're gonna want a custom event called update the update rate, or something along that line. So on event construct, we want to call a function which we haven't created yet, called init manager. Init map manager. How about a little bit? Makes a little bit more sense. So this will be pretty easy. And actually, we can delete the one from here. I was just messing around with it, but we actually don't need it because we're going to be spawning it here. So let's get rid of that in our map. And so in our init map manager, we're going to spawn that. So we're going to go into a branch, and we're going to want to get a Boolean value, obviously. So I'm going to promote to variable, which I'm going to call be fixed to full screen. So is it currently fixed to full screen, or are we just in regular view? Want that to be editable, and by default, if we hit F7, we want that, oh come on, to be true. There we go, perfect, it was true by default. So we want to throw that something like so, and then if true, we want to spawn actor from class, That class is gonna be manager, where are you? BP Minimap manager. And we want to always spawn ignoring collisions, of course. We always want that. The owning player is going to be get owning player, which is one word I didn't think about, and that's not what I wanted. Get owning. Oh, I know why. We need to get owning player like that. That returns a player controller, and then we want to do a peer cast to BP player controller. That's what I was looking for. That's the owning player, and compile. What else? We'll need a transform, obviously. So let's make a transform. So the location, it can be way in the sky or way under, depending on your map, and it can be scaled down to like 0.01. Since it's just a manager, another thing we'll need to do is go into it, right here, and full screen resolution should be exposed on spawn. I forgot to do that completely. So let's compile and save that. Oh, and it's got to be editable, of course. And then go back here, and that will show up, and we're gonna want to promote that to a variable. So we will right click, promote to variable, and I'm just gonna go fs underscore res. And I hate how this advanced keeps popping up. We're gonna want to make that editable, F7, and then set it to your resolution that you almost always see. And we'll set up configuration for this later, but 1920 by 1080 for when we actually do get to the full screen stuff. So that's it for that function. So we'll compile, we'll go back. What else? Close all this stuff here. Our event graph. So on event construct, we want to init map manager. So we initialize that. Everything is everything's happy. We got a manager. Then we want to do a get all actors of class. We want to get any landscapes, and then we want to get the first ones. Whoops, that would be an A, not O. Want to get the first one, since you usually only have one landscape. And then we want to set, we haven't created that yet, so let's just promote that to a variable called landscape. And yeah, we want to set that like so. And we want to do another get all actors of class. Actually, I should have copied all that. Whatever. We want to get our 2D, our BP Minimap capture 2D camera. We want to do an array get and get the only one of that, because we should only have one unless you want multiple minimaps. And then we want to do an is valid on that. So is valid imp here. And if it's not valid, we don't want to do anything. If it is valid, we want to set that promote to variable, which will be itself. This will be our 2D capture camera, and we want to set that as well. And we'll straighten those out. Click. Ooh, didn't want all those. Straighten those. What the heck? That kind of sucks. That's totally weird. I'm only selecting those, but it still straightens that out. Interesting. Anyways, then we want to drag off of that, and we want to update image, or update capture rather. Update the capture image. Like so. And then we want to call our custom event update the update rate. So that's how fast it's going to update. And I totally forgot, it needs a few things, so let's go down. It needs some input. So we need a boolean B capture every frame. That is for if you've ever placed one of these or played with one of them. Let's see here, 2D. You'll see there should be an option for capture every frame. So if you set that to true, then it's going to capture every frame. Otherwise, it's just going to take a picture when it's activated, basically. And we're going to want another input, which is going to be a float, which is going to be B update rate. Or not B update rate, it'll just be update time rate. Update rate. Update timer. So we're going to make a timer out of it. So what we're going to want to do is go into a branch for this. And that condition is obviously, are we capturing every frame? If false, we want to set timer by function name, and that function name is, come on, straighten out, is update image. So we're going to call that function there, and our time is going to be the update timer, and we want it to loop. We want it to continually capture, and the object is going to be our 2D capture camera, like so. All right, and after that we'll set or we'll need to rather get out our capture camera. Let's put it up here, it'll make it easier. We want to get capture component 2D. That's just a stock component that each one of these have, and then we'll want to set B capture every frame to false. And if true, then we simply just want to set that to true. So take this, we'll just paste it, we'll do this, we'll make a reroute so it's nice and clean, and we'll plug that in. And capture every frame, yes. So that's that one. I'm just gonna save and compile. And what is it bugging me about now? Widget main HUD, okay. So we'll compile and save you too, since you like to be picky. I don't know why it hates me. So on event tick, we want to do some things too. Let's just create some room here. So on event tick, or did I even finish that? So we update the update rate. No, I did not. Then we want to get our widget map render target, and we want to set trace. We did not create that variable yet, did we? We did not. So let's go into our designer, let's select that, let's edit it, and let's go into its graph and create a variable called landscape trace channel, and this will be of type trace type query. Why is this advanced panel keep coming up on me? Then compile, and by default, oh come on, by default we want to be on visibility. So then we can go back to our Minimap, and we can set landscape trace channel, something like so. I think will work just fine. And we want to set that to a variable on this one, which will be basically the same thing. So I'm just going to promote it to a variable. I'm going to call it landscape. I'll just go ls trace chan. Why not? And this will be editable, same deal. And by default, we also want it to be the same. So that'll be visibility. Sorry, I was saying visibility. Visibility is what it should be. Let's make this cleaned up here, something like that. Now that's done. Compile and save. Now we can do our event tick. So what we want to do, we have my geometry. So what we want to do is, we don't have those. We do want to call set top left position though after we call another function, and my geometry is gonna plug right into that. But we want to create another function first, and that function is going to be called update image location lock. So this function is not going to be the funnest. It's not the worst that we've done. So we'll have an input which will be of type geometry. This will be geometry in. And so what we're gonna want to do is we want to get local size of the geometry, and we want to take this return value, and we want to do a vector 2D. Where is it? We made one. I guess I called it v2d times v2d. So vector 2d times a vector 2d. So that's number one. Number two is, I don't know if we have this, get follow position on minimap. Yep. Oops. That's what we're gonna multiply it by. Take the out value and let's reroute it because we're gonna use it a few times. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to need another function. So let's create a function called convert lock. So this will convert a location. Take a location on the landscape and a rotation, and it will give us an image location on our capture image. So to do that, it's actually fairly easy. All we need is a vector, full 3 vector, and a rotator, and then we want to output a vector 2D, and so this will be landscape vector or location, whatever you want to call it. This will be our rotator in, and then this will be our image location in X and Y. So to get to this return value, again, it's not too terribly hard. All we do is we're gonna want to get our landscape, and we're gonna want to get our widget MapRender target. And off of that, do we have the function created yet? Lock. Oh, I don't believe. No, we're gonna need one there too. So we might as well create that one while we're at it too. So let's just save what we've done here. Let's go to our widget MapRender target. Let's create a function called convert. So that'll be called convert lock peer. And this one has a ton of input. Do we have a vector 2D up still? No. So since it's there, we output a vector 2D. So this will be on image. So this will be the vector on the image that we get, the location. We want a landscape reference. This is landscape in. And then we'll have a vector on the landscape. So this will be on landscape. We'll need a vector 2D. This will be the image size. And then we'll want a rotator. This will be rot in. Rot in nowhere. So actually, I'm gonna leave that return node at the beginning because this one has some length to it. So we want to take our landscape in, and we want to get world size. Get size of world. I can't remember between the twos yet. That's the one. Yeah, for sure. we want to take, let's see, let's do the on landscape, and we want vector 2, vector 2D, 2 vector 2D vector, there we go. And we want to swap vector 2D. So remember that swaps the X and Y. And then we want to do a vector 2D minus, okay, vector 2D. That one's a stock one. Vector 2D minus vector 2D. So we want to subtract the center. And then we want to do a division. So V2D divide, okay, yeah, vector 2D divided by vector 2D. And the second one is going to be the halved size. And then we want to divide that by a float. That one is a stock little node. So divide by 1.5. Bring this in if we want. Why not? A rotator we're gonna need. So let's give that a reroute cleanly, something like that. And our image size vector 2D we're gonna need. So let's reroute these over. All right, so and then we want to take this vector 2D and 2 vector. Where are we? 2 vector vector 2D. There we go. And 0 is the Z. And then we want to rotate vector around axis, and the angle degrees is going to be this rotator. We're just going to break it, and we want, let's line up those pins. We want the yaw because we need a Z. That'll be our angle degrees, and our axis will be around the Z. So one vector unit around the Z. Then we want to take this and break it. Or sorry, no, we want vector 2, vector 2D, 2 vector 2D. I don't do that conversion a lot. And we want to split that, rather, is what I was looking for. Might work with the other one, I'm not completely sure. We want to add 1. And then divide by 2. Rather, a float by a float. Divide by 2. And then we want to take the Y and divide that by 2. Minus 0.5. Which you might notice is 1 divided by 2, and then multiply it by -1. Like so. And then we can take one of these and we can make a vector 2D. That'll be the X, this will be the Y. We want to take the return value, we want to multiply it by a float. We want to come up here and we want to break vector 2D. That'll be the X, there'll be no Y. The input will be this one. And then we want to round vector 2D, and now we have an output. So let's plug that in. All the way to the end. Just like so, and I think we're good. So let's save and compile that. Go back to our widget minimap, and we can now use that. So all we do here is, yeah, we take our widget MapRender target, we do convert lock peer, plug that in, that's obviously the output. And this goes into here, landscape vector goes into on landscape, rotator in goes into rotation, image size. We want our map render target, we want slot as canvas slot. Although I don't have that in a canvas. Oh yeah, we do. Okay, never mind. And then we want to get size of that canvas slot. So get size, make sure it's the canvas panel slot, and that return value is our image size. And our landscape in is landscape, like so. Alrighty, cool. So you can compile and save that. Oh god, that pisses me off. I just want to delete it from there, almost. Anyways, we can go back to update image location, and so what we want to do now is do a convert location. So let's call that, and let's bring this up a hair because that's too close. So our landscape location is get lock, because we created that. Well, get rot, and why is that putting out a vector? I totally mixed those up, didn't I? Let's check that out. Get rotation outputs a vector. That's not right. That should rather be get follow rotation. Let's just rename them. Yeah, they just need to be renamed. Get rotation, get lock. There we go. Oh, this just made me mad now. It's gonna happen again. Okay, I'm just gonna take it out of the HUD for now because that's pissing me off. Okay, now we can go back. Where were we? Update image location. So yeah, rotation, location. There we go. That makes a bit more sense. I didn't even realize I swapped those up. The other thing we're gonna need to do is get our render target, and we're gonna want to get that slot as canvas, and then we want to get its size. Then we want to divide that vector 2D. So vector 2D divided by vector 2D. I should have given those easier names. Or sorry, that's just divided by a float. My bad. 1.5. Clean this up a little bit. Then we want to subtract the size that we made our image, which was it's a float again. 1024, I believe. 2096. So we'll go. Why would I do 2096? That's not a power of 2. That should be 2048. My bad. Compile and save that. Too close to Christmas. So we'll minus 248. And then we will divide by 2 to get the center. And then we will do a v2d minus vector 2d minus vector 2d. And we will subtract a vector 2d, which will be a variable we don't have. So let's promote to variable. Actually, that can be a local variable. So I'm going to delete it. So let's convert to local variable, and we'll call that L_follow offset. So we want to subtract it by that. And then we want to just make sure that's a positive value, so we do our v2d abs. That one I remember because it's short. And then we also want to take where we divide by 1.5, and let's reroute that, because we need to take this value out. We need to break it. We're gonna break another one up here. well, actually just the image location, so it can go right in there. We're gonna break that one. We're gonna use it again, so we might as well rewrote this, because we're gonna promote to local variable called, not that, L image location, like so. So we want to set that on, let's bring this down a little bit, on a branch. We want to set follow offset first from that input, and then we can go into a branch, and the condition will promote to a variable which is called fixed edges, and by default that should be false. So let's compile and check that, because it gave me true the other. Oh, now that's just making me mad. Yeah, weird, it's giving me trues today. That should be false. Fix to full screen. Oh, okay, that one's fine. Maybe it's pulling it off that. Anyways, so true and false, we're both gonna set this variable. If true, however, we're gonna set it and we're just gonna break it. We'll split it right there, because we're gonna get it from down here. And then basically this just comes over, under, doesn't really matter. Over, under, upside down, because it's gonna merge right back in with this one. Whoops, I didn't need a return node. So what we need to do here is, so we need to take this value out right here, and we want a vector2d plus vector2d, and we want 4 pins. So the second one we want to add is that one. Then we want to add L follow offset times -1. We want it the inverse, and that'll be both of those values. Then that'll be the last vector we want to break. So let's actually bring that back. It's a little bit messy, but alright, so we have 3 vectors to work with here, and you might notice 3 vectors can make you a position in 3D space, which we'll almost have. Clamp float, X goes into there, and Y goes into the bottom one. Value, and the min here is this X, and the Y is this min. The X is that max, the Y is this max. So just like that little interchange looking setup, and then the return value goes into the image location. So that's X, that's Y. Set this up like so, maybe. Guess we could bring that back if we wanted. Whatever. And then all we need to do is take L image location, and we want to do minus vector2d minus vector2d, and we want to subtract that one, I believe. Yep. And then we want to get the inverse of that, so we want to multiply by a float, -1. And then, do we have set? No. But we do need this one, and then slot. Oh wait, never mind. I'm thinking of a stock function. That's why we don't have it. Set position. So we set its position in the canvas panel slot, and that position is that vector2d. And then we simply rotate. And I don't think we have that either. but we do want to get rotation like so, and then we'll just need a simple function. So you always need a few functions just to make one. I'm just gonna save, even though it's gonna give me errors. It's pissing me off. I'll take this rotation. It's gonna have an input rotator. Want to break that. Want to map the range of the yaw unclamped between 0 and 360 and 0 and 1. The return value, we're gonna need to bring in our MapRender target. We're gonna need to get, where are we? Get cap, nope. Oh, maybe that, nope. What did I even call it? This one, get Minimap image render. Get Minimap image render. Then we want to do a get dynamic material. Take the return value, and we want to set scalar parameter value. That parameter, if you remember, was rotation, and the value is from here. And so in update image location, we then can call rotate. Did I call it rotation? I did. Rotate. So we'll call that rotation in is going to be get rotation. Let's save this. I'm going to get freaking errors again. Nothing's liking me today. Well, that just bugs me, especially if it doesn't seem fixable like that. You can do a, sometimes you can search for transient, but that can be slow too. I probably spelled it wrong. Whatever. Anyway, so what that means is we set this to MapRender, as in material MapRender, and it needs to be an instance so that we can set that. So let's take material MapRender, create material instance. That'll be MI MapRender. Open it up, and you can see we have that scalar parameter there. So and I realized I just missed something. Under MapRender, this should be what we should have rather is a parameter. We want a, where are we? Texture sample parameter 2v, I believe. So this will be our texture, just to keep it similar to stock. That'll be the UVs, then that can go out. All right, and the texture is gonna be our what do we call it? Yeah, render target 2D minimap. All right, now we're in business. 0, -1, none from texture. Yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. So the parameter name is texture. So save that. We need 2 parameters. I screwed that up. So back in our instance material, just check off texture and make sure it's set to that. And make sure the parent is set to its parent, obviously, and then you don't need to check off rotation because we're doing that dynamically. So we can save and close that. Alrighty. What next? Close these maybe. So that one's good, I believe. Yeah, it has no return value. Rotate is done, yes. So where were we? Oh, right, we were on the event tick, now I remember. So yeah, we wanna update image location. So let's call that, and our geometry in comes from our event tick geometry. So we can plug that right in. Bingity bangity boom, like so. And that is the logic for that. Let me count my functions. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. I still can't compile it though. That's highly odd. And so the one more function that we will want to use, and this one will be really quick, is we are going to want to set zoom. So we can zoom in and out when we want. So this will have an input float, which will be zoom value in or zoom in, whatever you want to call it. And we want to take that and we want to map range vector 2D. And the vector 2 is going to be, do we even have it? No, I don't think we do. So that'll be, yeah, interesting. That'll be, actually, I'm just gonna, I totally forgot about that trick about right clicking. It makes things so much faster. So right click, promote to variable. This will be image size, and it'll have a default value of the proper value. (2048 by 2048). And 1 in, we're gonna do times 1.5. We want to get a reference to self. Then we want to get slot, cast canvas panel slot, peer cast. And then we want to get size, so it gets the size of this canvas panel. And then we multiply that by 1.5. And then we take that output and we do our MapRender target, slot as canvas slot, take the return value and set size. Plug it in, and done. Even though it's gonna give me errors. Gotta find out what the heck freaking blueprint that is. That could be anything realistically. But we are done with that class. I'm gonna try throwing it back in. I don't know what it could be. Compile, save. Compile, save. Compile, save. Maybe that one. Compile, save. Oh, that upsets me. Anyways, back to blueprints, or sorry, UI, widget main HUD. Let's throw that back in there. So our widget Minimap, anchor it to the bottom right corner, alignment 1 and 1, 256, 256, whoops, 0, 0, whoa, bottom right corner. 0. As you can see, we have an updated texture now. It's all black. I don't think we'll see anything yet because we don't have all our functionality. We see some white, so at least it's capturing something. That's good to know. Cool, cool, cool. It's actually, oh, it's capturing some sky, it looks like. Perfect. So if we go back to our Minimap folder and open up our MapRender target, did we finish that off? No. On our event graph, we're gonna want same thing, event construct and event tick, like so. And we basically want to do the same things almost. We want to get all actors of class. We want to get all landscapes. I want to get the only one that you should have. Otherwise, you'll need to do more logic. I want to check if it's valid. Imp here. If it is, we're going to promote it to a variable called landscape, just like so. So we'll set it if it's valid. Then we want to do get all actors of class again, and that'll be our 2D Minimap capture camera. I want to do an array get of that and do the same thing, is valid. And if it is valid, then we want to promote it to a variable called our 2D capture camera. And we want to set it if it's valid. So that's the begin play. And then on event tick, we want to manage points. So that'll be things like enemy and friendly locations, locations marked on the map, etc., etc. Things like that. So on event tick, we want to call a function called manage points. So we're gonna need a variable called this frame's index. So what frame are we on? That'll be an integer. It'll have a default value of 0, so we don't need to compile. Want to set that to 0, and then we want to draw points. So we need another function called draw points, and so we'll go back to manage points. We will call it, since it has no input. So what we'll want to do is, first of all, we want to draw the player. So we want to get owning player pawn, get actor location, and then we'll need another fun function called add point. And this will be used for adding any kind of point that you want on the map. So we're going to need quite a few things, and the first thing we're going to need is an enumeration to make our lives easier. So let's go e_point type. Open that up. We're going to have 3 stock ones: color, material, close enough, and texture. Save that up. Let's go into here and create a variable based on that, I guess you could say, which or sorry, no, that'll be an input rather. So we'll have an input. We'll start actually with a vector. This will be map location. Then we'll do our point type. This will be point type. We'll have float size of the point. We'll have a color, which will be a linear color. So something like green usually is for players, or blue. So this will be color. We'll have a material reference. be material, and then we'll have a texture 2D, which will be our texture, like so. Alright, so the first thing that we do is we call a function called createPoint. And this one is going to have a, not an input, is going to have a local variable called L_point. And it's going to be of type, and we need to create this user interface widget blueprint widget_point. So open that up, and we're going to take our canvas panel and we're going to add an image to it. And we're going to set the anchors to all 4 corners and make sure the Z order is on top of everything so that we always see the player and it doesn't get hidden behind other things. And yeah, that should be about it. Make sure that is a variable though. So this will be our point image or whatever, and that'll set it as a variable. Let's go into our graph quickly. I promise you this will be very, very quick. All we need is a function called setColor. And all we do is we take point image and set color and opacity to an input linear color. Like so. Compile and save. So that'll be what that is a type of. So let's set that to widget point reference. So we'll be able to draw these anywhere we need. So to create a point, what we do is we go into a branch. And we also need an array of points also. So points, that's going to be an array of widget point. It doesn't need any elements. So we're going to take that array, we're going to check its length, and we're going to make sure it is less than this frame index. So this frame index less than the number of array indexes, elements rather. And then we also want to do these 2 variables again, and we want to do an array get. I don't feel like swapping those. And then we want to actually this will be L return point. We want to set that if true to that value. If false, we want to create the point. So create widget of type widget point. The owning player is going to be get owning player. And then we can set our L return point to that. So then we have an actual reference to it. And then we want to take our canvas, that's a variable by default. You can call it something else if that confuses you, and add child to canvas. And we want to add our point to the canvas. And then we want to set its Z order. So set Z order, depending if you're American or Canadian. And then we want to take points because we need a reference to all of them, and we want to do an array add. And what we're going to add is this widget. So let's rewrote that to make it a little bit easier on the eyes. Like so. And then we set this frame index. And we'll get that value in a second. And then we can take our return node, which I totally did not set, I don't think. No. So we'll have an output, it's because I didn't have that yet, of widget point. Oh, come on. Widget underscore of point reference. This will be point to draw. We'll add return node, and we return our return point. Like so. Now to get, I'll do the true to do all our stuff. Basically, actually this just plugs in. Like so. And to get the frame index, we just get this frame index and make sure that we add 1. This one's giving me problems too. Great. I bet you I'm gonna have ears all over the place. That kind of bugs me big time. Oh well, anyways, actually I guess it could be any of these, the kill board. Chat main. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so that's that. So we create a point when we add a point. So we're gonna call that create point. Oh great. And we're gonna take this and we're gonna do a whole bunch of things. We want to get point image. We want to slot as canvas slot since we put it on a canvas, and we want to reroute, and we want to switch on point type. Selection is the point type, and on color we set color. That's the target, and the color is the color. Material, what we do is we take our point image and we do a set brush from texture. So that's on material. The texture is the texture in. Yeah, because I want the texture 2D like so. And lastly, as a texture, set brush from material. Set brush from set brush. Off of point image, set brush from material. So that's for texture. Or no, whoops, that's for material. This one's texture. And the material goes into material, like so. Yeah, and then let's reroute these so we can use them. Size and map location. So that got a little messy in there. And these all converge into one execution point, chain, whatever you want to call it, line. And what we do, we're also going to need our canvas slot rerouted. Our slot as canvas slot, rather. What we're going to want to do with that, well, first we're going to want to do a we're gonna want I guess, yeah, convert location. thinking if I could pull those from our main class, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it right now. So we're gonna have a vector, which is gonna be our lock-in. And we're going to take our landscape, which we don't have here either. So let's call convert location peer. Landscape in, promote to variable landscape. Oh, I do have one. Whoops, my bad. Landscape plugs into there. We want to get owning player pawn, and then we want to get follow rot as in rotation for rotation in. On landscape comes from location. Image size, we want to get size of canvas panel. Canvas panel, get size. We need to just do ref self, get slot, cast the canvas panel slot, like so, and then we return a vector 2D, which I forgot to add, which is our lock image. Like so. Compile. Even though I'm getting errors here too now. Kind of really bugging me. Odd. Anyways, so yeah, back to add point. Now we can call that, so convert location. No, not peer. I did finish that, right? Yeah, okay. And the location in is that vector, and we also want to take this and rewrite it again. And let's do a float divide by float. I'm going to divide by 2, so we get a half size. And then we take our location image and we do a vector 2D divided by float, so that'll get us the center again. We're going to need this size again, so let's rewrite it again. So we're going to want to take our slot here now, and we're going to want to bring it all the way over, and we're going to want to set position of whatever point we're adding. The position will be there, and then we want to set the size of it, so let's rewrite it one last time. Set size, and the size in is going to be same for X and Y. It's going to be square. If you want something different, you'll have to figure out the math. I can only give you rectangles and squares. Compile and save. So add point is done. So now we can go to draw points. And so what we do is we take this return value and we add a point. And plug that in. The point type will be a color point. Size in pixels will go something like 15. Color, we'll make it, like I said, blue's usually a good friendly color. Nice blue though. And material and texture, since we're not using them, are not needed. But if you were doing a different kind, obviously you would. Then we want to get all actors of class. And And just for fun, let's go Jeep. Why not? This is where we'll do some modifications later when we actually make some enemy bots or whatever. We could do friendlies too, like our player characters. In fact, maybe we will do that. Let's do that. BP base character, we'll do both so that we can at least see something. And then we'll want to add point. So we're going to need another function. And this one's very easy. It's only a couple nodes. Actually, you know what? I should just delete this. Draw points, manage points. Where are you? Create point, add points. Just duplicate add point and call it add points. And then let's just get rid of all this crap. And we just want to do a, we can get rid of the vector here and we can set it to an array of actor references. And we'll just call this actors. And so we'll want to do a for each loop on that. So for each actor, we want to add a point. So we want to get their location. And then we want to call add point for them. And then we just plug and play. That's the map location, the point type. You get the idea. Size, color, material, texture. I hate compiling, but gotta save it. I gotta go compile all my classes to find out which one's causing errors. It's gonna be really fun. But what we can do now is we can call add points. Haha. And this one will make a little bit smaller. We'll go like 7 pixels, 5, I don't know. We'll see what looks good once we actually get there. And this will be green for friendly, obviously. Well, we're gonna have to define which actors are enemies and which actors are friendly through some type of integer or enum or structure, but for now we'll just do all players as friendly. And then let's do the Jeep just for fun. So same thing. And we'll make that one like 7, oops, not 75, that would take up the whole minimap, and just for kicks we'll make that purple. And so as you can see, you can just continually add on to this for whatever you want to show on the map. If you want to show a certain location, you just get all actors of that location, and whether they're spawned in or not, they'll be shown. And I just realized to create point, I created 2 return nodes, so make sure we delete that extra one. Then compile and save, and hey, it's not giving me errors anymore. Ah, now it is. Of course. So yeah, we were working on manage points. So create point is fine. Draw points, we're good. So we're on manage points. So yeah, we draw them and then we gotta remove any old ones. So let's create a new function called remove old points. So we get points, we get the amount of them, so the length, subtract 1 because it's 0 based, and we want to get this frame index. And we want to see if this is greater than that value, and that goes into a branch. And that's its condition, as you might have guessed. And then we do that again, and we do a for loop. And that is the last index. The first index is this one minus 1 here. So if true, it's basically removing the oldest one. So all we do is we get points again, and we do an array get. I don't know why I typed that in put in the index and remove from parent. That's the loop body. So that's our that's our remove old points function. So that is our manage points function as well. Compile, get my errors. And I think that is everything. Oh, well, we have to call that. So yeah, manage points on event tick. Like so. Something else I just thought about, the compression settings on our texture render target 2D minimap should be user interface 2D. Something I totally didn't think about that can affect things. And texture group should be UI. So make sure you save that. And one more error I totally made is this should have a Z value of 1 for set relative location before we set it to -1. So compile and save that. I gotta find out where this save error is coming from before I can get any further, but if you have a black texture, you're good. If you don't, just create a landscape. And if you want, you can even delete the floor like that. Like, we won't even need one anymore. You can save that, but you'll see that it's not quite gonna work yet. We don't quite have things set up yet. So I gotta work on that. I gotta figure out where the save error is coming from, but pretty much everything's there otherwise. Well, everything is there. Just gotta figure out where that save error is coming from. And I just realized I was doing something totally wrong too in our BP Minimap Capture 2D camera. Delete get world size and break vector 2D here. The absolute is fine. The math expression is fine. It's just a Pythagorean theory. So as landscape, we want to get world size, and then we want to take the half size. We can split the struct pin, half size X absolute, and the center, split that structure pin, and then that can go into set actor location. But instead of making a vector, just split this structure pin. That's Z, that is Y, and that is X. And then update capture. So just a little bit different. Compile and save that. I just noticed another error too in widget minimap. We want to capture every frame, and our update timer should be 1, so every second. So compile and save that as well. Otherwise, I'm gonna track down this error, and we'll get it going next time. It might be working for you, but I obviously have a reference error somewhere, so I can't have it in my HUD. So we'll see what happens with that next time, and then we'll get back to our guns. So thanks again for watching. If you learned something, please like the video, subscribe as well. We take donations at paypal.me/BlenderTek. If you dislike this video, please tell us why. So we'll see you next time. Remember, create your way.